So I can maybe just do an illustration of a standard type of day so they don't even develop mold, which is pretty cool. And they've patented it. Very emblematic of the Bulletproof diet, which is
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Kidney Coach YouTube channel. I am naturopath Fiona Chin, co-founder of Kidney Coach and our supplement range Ketosis, designed to support people diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. And I'm really excited by my guest today. He's a first-timer on our podcast, the amazing Felix Mueller. Felix is all the way from Germany, my first German guest. And Felix has a really great story. He is the author of Reversing Polycystic Kidney Disease. Felix himself has PKD, and I'll let him tell you all about his journey, but I assume from his journey, he became a health coach. He works one-on-one with patients, and he was the original discoverer of the effects of a ketogenic diet and the effect it has in PKD. Don't be fooled by anyone else trying to claim that one. That is all Felix's. So people want to know, walk us through what the bulletproof ketogenic diet looks like. I think people generally understand a ketogenic diet, but walk us through what a typical daily intake would be, what vegetables and things are and aren't on the list. Talk to us about, really specific things that people would need to take out, put in, all of those sort of things.
Yeah, sure. So I can maybe just do an illustration of a standard type of day that I would do or that a client would do. And the thing that is very emblematic of the Bulletproof diet, which is something that I love about it as well, is the thing that I just finished here was my little Bulletproof coffee. So this guy, Dave Asprey, invented the whole Bulletproof diet, and with it also the Bulletproof coffee. And the cool thing about this is, of course, it's made from coffee beans that are tested for having low levels of mold. They also use like this special process where the beans are not fermented when they're standing in a pool of water, but they're fermented like in a flowing process with these tubes. So they don't even develop mold, which is pretty cool, and they've patented it. Yeah, so use these beans, and then you put the coffee in a blender with about a tablespoon of butter and about a tablespoon of MCT oil. And MCT oil is, if you get the pure stuff, it's called caprylic acid, or C8 MCT oil. And the cool thing about it is that it is converted to ketones directly in the liver, even if you don't eat a ketogenic diet the rest of the day. So this is a hack even for people who are like not diligent. It's better than nothing. You can definitely add some MCT oil to every meal so you get a little ketone boost. But in the coffee, it gives you a lot of ketones extra. And the coffee, of course, with the butter will also increase your calories and your fat intake for the day, because we always want to shoot for a 1.5-ish ratio of fat to protein. So that means if you're having 100 grams of protein per day, you want 150 grams of fat per day. Something around that area will get us into the beginning levels of ketosis that is pretty sustainable. There's a lot of people who want to go higher than that, but at that point, we do get into some issues with just having enough protein. So that's why I tend to stick to that ratio. So the cool thing about this coffee is that it doesn't, in a traditional sense, break a fast, because there's many different things that we can look at for defining how do we break a fast. But for PKD, it's really important that we stay in ketosis, so we have ketones in the blood, in addition to the glucose. It's always going to be there, but it's going to be lower, and we don't increase insulin levels. And both of these are very important. And the third one, which goes a little further than that, is we don't want to trigger mTOR, which means, so mTOR is a messenger molecule in the body that is necessary for all types of growth, including muscle growth, but also tumor growth, cyst growth, any kind of growth. And we really want to target our activation of this to a smaller window of the day. On Bulletproof, we do like 6 to 8 hours of the day that we eat food, which is when we trigger all of these mechanisms. Yeah, and so that would begin at about 1 p.m. maybe. For somebody like me, I do it at 1 p.m., which is when I would have lunch, and lunch would always consist of one piece of red meat, usually lamb or beef, which is, for many people, it's going to be a surprise, because nephrologists tend to preferentially recommend white meats, and then even more than that, no meat at all. and going for vegetarian, vegan options, which we should also talk about some of the misconceptions around that. But yeah, so it's going to be centered around like maybe half of my protein needs in the first meal, and then half of my protein needs in the second meal. Usually from red meat. Has a lot of benefits because it also gives us actually bioavailable iron, which many kidney patients need dearly. And a lot of nutrition, very available amino acids to rebuild our body and our kidneys as well. Has been shown that meat actually has a higher capacity, or only meat has only animal protein has a capacity to grow the glomeruli in the nephrons. So the actual active filtering units of the kidney, they can grow. We don't grow new nephrons, so we don't grow new units of filtration in the kidney. At least that's what we are supposed to believe for now. You know, it can always change. It did change in the past. But we, like every single unit that's still there and functioning, we can grow its head and make it more efficient at filtering. So we can do that with the right protein intake. Of course, if the protein intake is too low, it's not going to happen because other things in the body are going to be preferentially done. But yeah, we have a nice unit of protein. We add to this some of the green zone vegetables, which would be low oxalate, low phytic acid, and low xenoestrogens, low phytoestrogens. So there's all these different categories, but it would be something like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, green beans, cabbage, stuff like that. Salads are usually great. Cucumber, carrots, all these things can be the basis of our meals, all going to be low carb. And then we add a lot of fat to it. So it could be like a stir fry where we add like, 5 tablespoons of butter or tallow or something like that. And we have the vegetables soak up all the fat. That's just an amazing benefit of vegetables, is really their ability to absorb fat. So we don't have to like shovel it in with like spoons, right? So yeah, that's really a good hack. And it could be a soup, it could be a stir fry, it could be a roast. Could be any kind of hearty, standard type of meals that people usually like to eat. And we do that for lunch and for dinner. And that is usually the standard type of diet.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your wisdom. And it's always, it's different when someone's had the condition themselves and then really have gone and done an N of 1 study and found what's really worked and taken that out there and, found the studies that back up your hunch. I think when you're living in a body, you cannot out-doctor your own personal experience. I don't care what anyone says to me. The greatest professional is someone living with a disease that has a hunger to really make a dent on it. So I thank you for sharing your wisdom and your N of 1 study on yourself and taking that out to the world. It's a noble thing to do, and I'm sure you're I'm not sure, I know you're helping thousands and thousands of people, and hopefully with this podcast we can get the word out to even more.
Yes, that's amazing. Well, thanks so much for having me. It's been a blast,
and we'll have you back for sure. So again, I'll put all the links below so you can stalk Felix and ask him questions and look at his Facebook group. And if you want to know more about what we do, head to www.kidneycoach.com. You'll find us on socials with the same handles. And make sure you hit subscribe and like. That way you will get notified anytime we put up new content. And if you have questions for Felix or about this podcast, please put them in the comments. I can always reach out to him. And if there's some really good topics or rabbit holes that you would like me to get Felix back on the podcast and ask him, please write that in the comment and I will be sure to do that as well. Thank you for being part of our community. And Felix, thank you again for your time, your wisdom, and your generosity. Look forward to seeing you next time.